Anantu walked a mile or two away from her hut to pull sweet potatoes and corn. Chaka, her mate, was out hunting deer with fellow tribesmen. As she pulled the sweet potatoes, the babe in her stomach began to kick. She patted her belly and hummed before standing to move back home. Every few steps, Anantu felt pain. Baby's coming. She kept pressing forward until the waters began to flow. She breathed and hummed, determined to make it home. Anantu's oldest two daughters eventually heard her and came to help. Mama, Mama, they called. Hours of pushing and grunting later, two baby girls lay wrapped in fur on the hut's floor. Chaka, who returned during the birth, comforted Anantu while holding his two oldest daughters. They cooked and laughed and embraced the newest members of their family. Later, Anantu gave supper to her girls. I shall name you Anunde for my mother, and Beatrix for your father's mother. You will both be great women. Chaka stayed silent. Though both women were great medicine women, the village singled out his mother as a witch doctor, a troublemaker, and often called him a dreaded shaman due to his dreams. He was so fortunate to have Anantu. She was strong and wise, and most importantly, she understood him. Chaka often thought of putting his family on horseback and riding off to start a new village. He knew if Anantu left, half the village would too, and likely start a war. That night under the pink moon, Beatrix the First danced, sang, and chanted, a celebration of joy for her granddaughters. It was also a mourning of her only grandson, Daka, the boy Anantu lost many moons ago. She knew the girls being born under the strawberry moon meant that they were special. She didn't know how, but she would nurture and honor them. Over the years, foreign men started to arrive in her homeland. They seemed friendly enough at first, but soon they turned their weapons against them, pushing many of them deep into the woods, capturing and enslaving millions of the unaware or the heedless. Things were a ball of confusion and fear. Chaka kept his little family hid deep in the woods, breaking off from the tribe many years ago. It was bittersweet for Chaka and Anantu. Anunde, the first, was captured while out foraging. No. The small family was isolated up in the mountains. Beatrix the First took immense pride in her family. Though she longed for her lost grandson in a pressing and heavy way, she knew life was circular. You come and you go. She frequently sought out Chaka when she missed the boy. Beatrix the First spent several hours a day teaching her granddaughters healing arts. They learned how to heal with breath, with water, with the mind, and with herbs. She taught them when and where to find the best herbs and meats and how to protect themselves from evil. On the eve of Anantu's eldest daughter's 19th birth, the strawberry moon returned. Beatrix the First knew something was wrong. The air felt heavy. The usual sweet smell of pine, river, soil, and herbs was replaced with a faint odor, fire, and must. Beatrix leapt from the hut's cool floor, grabbing her feathered charm and chanting. She hoped she was wrong, but she knew she was right. They were here, she whispered. No, they are here. By the time she made it round to the hut of her family, it was set ablaze. Chaka. After all these years, hid they had been found. Beatrix wailed into the fire, calling for her family. In her misery, the sorrow-filled Beatrix the First did not hear the settlers creep behind her. With a swoop, she was captured. She struggled against her captors, but she was old, and they were many. She cursed them. She cursed them loudly, and a strong curse it was. Anantu took small sips of air while running behind her girls. Chakaya whimpered. She had always been the most frightened and gentlest of the 4 girls. Anantu hoped Chaka and Beatrix the First were close behind. They planned where they would meet if they were ever found out. Anantu listened for twigs crackling, small breaths, and heavy feet. She knew if they could get past Bere's den, the lair of the huge mother black bear and her cubs, they would be fine. Bere had a den full of cubs and was easily upset these days. Anantu heard fake growls. The girls moved instinctively away, but she had already stirred. That too was a part of the plan. Anantu and her children moved deeply into the brush, and swiftly, since other dangers lurked nearby. Bere heard the sounds of loud, clumsy, proud men. So proud that they did not bother to step lightly. She roared out, and Anante knew they must be quick. She pushed her eldest daughter forward, letting her know to be swift. The sound of screaming men and a 13-foot bear rang out behind them. She silently hoped for Bere's survival. She watched Bere grow from a cub. They finally reached the end of the bush, and the real challenge began. Up the mountain they went, over down trees and into new territories. About a mile or so up the mountain, they stopped to rest and listen. They were afraid, and they waited many moons for Chaka, who stayed behind to lead away the foreign men and to find Beatrix the First. They waited atop the mountain, but they never came.